Welcome to today's Insight webinar. We'll be talking about basically Microsoft's Power BI and pretty ubiquitous piece of software that's been pretty much everywhere. And you can use that as a different tiers of business intelligence, but certainly it's a piece, right? So we want to talk a little bit about how that fits in with Stratum and how you could feasibly leverage some of the features and functionality that Power BI brings to the table. So we'll talk about what is Power BI. We'll discuss connecting to Stratum with the Power BI desktop, and we'll talk about how that gets done, which allows you to leverage your Stratum investment and all the views that are created. We'll go through a quick demo of how the Power BI connector works, how you can connect it to your viewer environment and create some pretty fantastic looking reports with some of the latest technology. And we'll take a quick Q&A at the end if there's any remaining questions, and talk about how you can contact us if you need any help in these areas. So what is Power BI? As you can see, it's a piece of the whole BI puzzle, especially within the Microsoft stack. As you can see, there's some plumbing here that is also in the mix, which is obviously very important, so that you're not just stuck with a Power BI implementation without all the necessary governance, data governance rules and regulations and metrics and calculations that are mission critical, semantic layers that make it easier for business users to create these reports. So that's kind of where Stratum fits in the mix here. As you can see, SQL Server analysis services and SQL Server databases would be in the mix. Obviously, those would be Stratum oriented databases that many of you are running already today. So you're ahead of the ball game if you've got Stratum implemented, and you could feasibly use this product to create, like I said, some pretty fantastic looking up-to-date reports, and we'll take a look at some of those a little bit later. So a little bit more on Power BI. As you can see, pretty easy to use. I'll show you. It actually is a very easy tool to create these graphics. It's very cost effective. You could certainly get away with some of the reporting with some of the free version features and capabilities. I think eventually you might go down the path of purchasing some seats here, perhaps, depending on how you grow with it. The customization options are pretty good. I mean, they're quite easy to put together. They're visually appealing. So I'm going to show you some options there and how you could feasibly use some of those features in your reports. We'll look at simple collaboration. How do we use these reports that we create within Power BI to share them with other Stratum users? How do we share them within the Stratum environment? And what do they look like up on the Microsoft cloud? So we'll take a look at some of those. As you can see, custom visualizations and whatnot are available via Microsoft as well. So whenever you need a custom report or something that involves some graphics that you may not be able to achieve within Stratum itself, this is a definite viable option for you. So like I said, the Power BI desktop sits there on top, where you have a free version that is available with certainly many options. And as you can see, that would then connect to the Power BI connector, which does require a license. So depending on your license structure with Sylvan, we could talk about whether you're already entitled to use this piece of software or how you could feasibly license it. And it is part of our Stratum Data Hub Analyst licensing, the new licensing we have available for that. So you'll not only get this, but many other features as well when you license this product. And then finally, as you can see, that connects to, that is your bridge, that is your gateway to the Stratum viewer environment, where then you can tap into all the views that are available, take advantage of that semantic layer that Stratum provides. So again, leveraging all the Stratum views that you have available, which is a really good thing. You have plenty of data out there, it's clean. It's ready to go, and now you can tap into it using the Power BI connector. And you can use the views as your data sources. As you can see, I'm highlighting a view here, and I'll show you how to do this in a second. Highlighting a view after connecting to Sylvan, the viewer, the Stratum viewer environment, and then getting a preview of what the data looks like and loading that into my Power BI desktop. So we'll actually take a look at how you do that today. As you can see, once it's loaded within the tool, Power BI, as you can see, the view itself becomes the data set. And as you can see, all the different fields that are available, or what we call measures, as you can see, are available. The semantic layer is there. I'm not looking at table names or field names. I'm not writing SQL or MDX or any of that other complicated language that business analysts, or many of them, would struggle with, quite frankly. Stratum takes that off the table and allows you to connect directly to views that make sense to your business analysts, make sense to business users, and allows them to take us, another step further into their voyage and journey into business intelligence and become more self-serving, which for all you IT folks, I would figure you'd want something along those lines. So how do you get a hold of us? Perhaps there's something that you want to talk about, whatever that might be. If it's obviously concerning anything regarding Stratum, feel free to contact me. And as you can see, you can contact me directly or use my email. As you can see, there's our customer websites and intranet sites that are available for you as well. We also have the YouTube channel, so don't forget to check that out, and check out all the wonderful videos and tutorials that we have published out on YouTube. So how does this all work? Let's take a look at it. I'm going to go ahead and bring up my Power BI desktop, and I'm already within a view or a report. Here's my Power BI report. Got a couple things going on. If you're not familiar with Power BI, we've got some graphing visualizations here. We've got a little spot chart here that's showing me volume by sales rep. So I can see some of my sales reps with the bigger areas obviously are driving bigger sales, is the concept of that visualization. This bar chart is by my different brands, this year versus last year on a rolling 3-month basis. That's another thing, time. I can't express how complicated time can be when it's not already organized and dealt with, which Stratum does for you. So certainly don't underestimate the concept of time, because if you have fiscals and you want to roll up to different aggregates of time, Stratum already organizes the data for you in that fashion. So you don't have to waste hours and days trying to deal with time structures, which can be very, hey, guess what, time consuming, which is no pun intended. But so here we've got the brands rolling three year. I was able to create that within minutes because, again, we have our time dimension already built. It's within my view, and voila, it's there. We've got a line chart here of all my product brands and seeing all the pattern of the sales throughout the year by fiscal period. Again, another fiscal time period that you'd have to worry about if you didn't have that semantic layer and didn't have time dimensions. And so on and so forth. Here's a combinational graph. We can see it by region, my returns as my line chart going through my stacked bar for my sales. And then you can see my data cards, or what they simply call cards, where I can see total company-wide sales year to date, 4.2 mil, rolling 3-month, 1.7 mil, and current month sales is roughly about 440,000. Pretty cool, right? I mean, I built all this using a view. My fields are over here. My views are highlighted. Power BI does a nice job of showing you which views or data sets you use for this report. As you can see, I'm grabbing data from a view called PBI, comparative sales, which gives me all those different measures that we're using within those visualizations. Because again, that was already part of my view. We'll take a look at that view. I want to show you what that view looks like, how you would feasibly build this view so that you can do stuff like this. Product brand, long description. Obviously I'm using some things here within my my different visualizations as well. So, that's how do I tap into this? How do I get these views populated? How do I connect this thing to viewer? Um, if you're familiar with Power BI, you've got the get data option where you're going to reach out and grab some data from somewhere, right? Whether it's going to be in an Excel file, which is your first option, a text file, those are always available. That's another thing that Power BI does really nicely, is allows you to bring in data from different pieces or islands of data, which is really, we all know that's a necessary evil sometimes, where you've got Excel files out there and other pieces of databases, et cetera. Well, Power BI does a nice job of being able to tap into those different databases and data sources. If we hit on other, we can see that there's other APIs that we can tap into. We can use our script. So it's pretty powerful in terms of what we can do. And yes, there's Sylvan Stratum Views API. So we're able to, because we've already got that loaded, we're able to grab that within the Power BI desktop tool and connect to it. It's now making a call and asking me to fill in the URL to this website. And so here I can go in and get my Stratum website, copy it, and paste that down into my Power BI desktop. So now I've got my URL to viewer, where I can then go ahead and tap into it. It will then make a connection to viewer and allow me to, allow me to tap into it. Let me see if I can connect to that again. Oh, isn't that fancy? Nevertheless, it will bring up as you can see on that screen, it'll bring that screen up. So basically you'll see all the different views available to you. You can type in your view name and it will filter all the views within, with that keyword or whatever, and then highlight the view and bring that into the Power BI desktop. So certainly, that's available, and, it's pretty simple to tap into and get that selected. Murphy is lurking over my shoulder today. Nevertheless, we can go in, and what I like about Power BI is it's really easy capability of adding more visualizations. I can come in and maybe if I want to add or change that to a different, I can undo that, by the way. That's a nice thing about Power BI is the undo button. So, I can maybe add in another visualization, maybe a pie chart. Oh, that's probably why it's not, my scripts weren't enabled. There's my pie chart. I can then go ahead and make that a little bit bigger. I can bring in my comparative sales view. I want to see what year-to-date sales looks like, and I want to see that by, I could do it by region, I suppose. So I'm going to highlight both of those fields, and there you have it. Pretty simple, right? So you've got that. You've got, if I don't like the way that looks, I can use the region description. I don't know if I have that within the view. I can always add that to the view. If I don't have it, I can do sold to country. Whatever's in the view, I can take advantage of the USA and Canada. If I do, let's use some of these descriptions like product brand, long description. If I highlight that, I get the descriptions, and as you can see, that's probably preferred. If I want to make this a little bit bigger, I can stretch that out a little bit. I can then collapse these down and take a look at what this final product might look like on a larger desktop. So, adding stuff into my Power BI report, pretty simple. I could add in visualizations, very simple, very, very easy. Let's try that get data one more time, just to see if it works now that my scripts are on. And we'll try it one more time. Just want to make sure you guys see that. And we'll try that one more time. Yeah, there you go. So my scripts, as long as you enable your scripts, you should be able to see the navigator. So now I've got the navigator up and I can cruise through all the different reports that I have, all the different views within my viewer environment. Here, if I put in PBI, that's going to filter and show all the views that have the word or keyword PBI or the letters PBI in it. There's my comparative sales. I can then select it. As you can see, you get a preview of the data within the navigator. I can then select that, I load that in, it then becomes, again, that loads it into my fields menu and makes it available. So it's that simple to add in another view and to and load it into your Power BI desktop. So that's how you would add in views. And then once that's added in, it would then become available here. As you can see, I've already got that view added in, and now it's available. Let's take a look at that view. I know that we've been kind of looking at Power BI desktop for a while. And look at that. As you can see, you can share you can deploy your Power BI report to the cloud, which then makes it available via a URL. And in this case, I can use that within my dashboard, my Stratum dashboard. Here, as you can see, here's that same report, and it's right here in my dashboard. So now I can certainly take advantage of all the different things I can do here within right here in my dashboard. I can click on Patrick Hurley. I love how Power BI kind of allows you to filter things down based on selections, very easy. I highlight Patrick Hurley. I can see his sales are 49 mil year to date. He's got a rolling 3-month sales of 20 mil. Pretty good performance. His current month sales is 5 mil. His overall performance looks good year to date. But and he's contributing really heavily to Farm Fresh, First Choice brands. Yeah, this only tells you so much, doesn't it? You don't really get the full story unless you get more detail, and that's the real quandary with dashboarding and reporting and tools like this. You don't want to clutter this, right? You don't want to provide too much detail. So what's the answer to that? How can you give the user what they need and provide an avenue to further detail where they can maybe perhaps drill to that detail in a very graceful fashion? Well, you have that. In Power BI, you can actually put in images, and you can assign an action to the image and make it a hypertext link. And well, a view is just that. It's a URL. So essentially, I've got an icon over here that allows me to click into it while I've got Patrick Hurley selected. I'm going to select Patrick Hurley, and I'm going to click for more details in Stratum for Patrick Hurley. And look at this. It's actually running a view. It's filtering on Patrick Hurley because I had him selected within my Power BI report. It then passed that parameter over to my sales rep view, and voila, I've got more data at my fingertips. As a matter of fact, I can then drill to the product level. I get 56 rows of data. This might look pretty ugly in the Power BI report. I can then proceed to sold to as needed. I've got now all these different, I can add in order. I can add in invoice. I've got that at my fingertips now, where I can then add that all in and drill to further detail without cluttering my initial Power BI report, this is a fantastic concept. Now, the drill through, is it simple? Yeah, it actually is if you have viewer. If you don't, it could be a little much more challenging. So again, that's another value add thing that viewer provides, is providing a drill to a viewer environment that, quite honestly, building the URL is a snap. So not difficult at all, and you're taking advantage of our parameter passing, which is native to viewer. For instance, if I came in and I selected Eleanor, her numbers are a little bit different. She's not doing as well as Patrick. Obviously, her numbers are a little bit lower. Her area chart is a little bit lower. I can see that her numbers are certainly lower. What does her detail look like? Well, again, I'm going to click on the drill through, and there's Eleanor right there. And so now instead of Patrick, it passed over Eleanor's sales rep ID, and voila, you're there. Bang, boom, bam. You're ready to dive in and see some of the details. So passing that parameter, providing that avenue of further detail to viewer views, it's important, it's cool, and it really gives, at the end of the day, it gives the user the answers, the devil's in the detail, as they say. And so in order for them to really resolve and to find the root problem of some of these issues, they can use this feature, and you can give that to them, and they will eat it up and use it and get what they need out of it. So, being able to do that, and as you can see, I drove all that through my my desktop here and just analyzing using the Power BI report that I used with the Power BI connector hitting up against viewer. So we were going to take a look at that view, what that view looks like. Here's the Power BI comparative sales view, and here it is. So it's nothing too fancy in terms of what the view contains. I've got all the different dimensions that I want to have available within my view. They're there. So if I want these descriptions available, then I need to make sure that they are present within my view. So these are all available as fields within my Power BI desktop, because I can connect to it using the Stratum connector. There's all my measures. We saw those. There's all the caption headings that are, as you can see, static. That's another thing that we recommend, is that if you were to build something to tap into using the Power BI interface, is using static column headers is certainly recommended. Getting away from using subtotal lines and grand total lines. These are some of the best practices that you want to adhere to when you create these reports. As you can see, I don't have any subtotaling going on. I don't have any grand totaling going on. It's strictly a raw, flat file oriented view with basically static column headers, so that nothing is changing except the data itself. Because these are, at the end of the day, Power BI treats these as table headers. This is a table, it has fields, and the field names, gosh darn it, better stay the same. And I know some of you SQL guys and gals out there, when you write a SQL statement, you're referencing a header, you change that header name, that SQL statement ain't gonna run anymore. So it's kind of the same concept here, where you build the view, you wanna make sure that you contain all the different, the time that's built into it, and I can double click on that measure. We can see how the actual measure looks in terms of time. And yeah, I can build this very easily. Time's already constructed for me. I'm using time range. As you can see, this is a rolling 3-month situation. I build that in a snap, right? So I don't have to struggle with time that's already dealt with. I can build my view and kind of move on. If you don't, again, if I wanted to add something here that I don't have as a field within my view, add it and then save it. So in this case, if I want to bring in another product level and make that available, maybe product family or whatever the case might be, here I can select product line. That now becomes available within my view. So what I might want to do is go to properties. Once I add that in, I'm going to turn that total off. It's already off, but I wanted to make sure that my total was turned off for product line. Okay. And then finally, I want to drill to it. So I'm going to drill from product family to product line. And it didn't really contribute at all to my total number of rows. As a matter of fact, I'm still sitting at around 955 rows. So it didn't affect my number of rows. Here's the product line now available to me. And then I go ahead and I save that to the view. So how do I get that back into my Power BI? I've got a new field, and I've got a new long description here as well. So I go back to my Power BI desktop. I come in and I don't see that product line in my stuff, in my fields. So how do I bring that in? I can come in. I can actually do a quick refresh over here on my. As you can see, I go back to home. I click on refresh. It will then reach out to those views and check them again, and then bring in any new fields I might have, and refresh the data at the end of the day. Some of you folks might have questions about how do I automate this? You can do that through the Power BI gateway. So that's something that's a little more advanced, but we have customers doing it today where they're refreshing overnight and the reports are automatically there and updated and ready to go. So now I should have down here my product line and my product line description. And there's my product line there, right there. And then I can then take advantage of that right away. So if I wanted to use product line instead of product brand, I can then deselect that. And now it's strictly just product line, which is a brand new field that I just brought in to the Power BI desktop. And then it looks like PCAT long description, which is right there. So I can unselect that. Maybe I want to use PCAT long description. Yeah, that looks better. So that's my product line. And that's how you add in a new field to your view. And that's how you would basically, it's simple. I did that as a user. I did not do that as a programmer. I did not have to touch a piece of code to add in that new field. That's the value. Let your users free. Free your users. I know, within reason, which is what Stratum provides, is that governance, that the fence, so they don't go with running these queries that bring down your ERP system, tapping into your ERP tables on month end.